The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
And welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. Karen Curtis, Skippy, and attorney Eric Glazer. How are you?
Dog gets introduced before I get introduced. Very nice.
Yes,
Yeah, I
sorry.
remember that.
I remember that. Okay, so we're very happy that you're here, and we're here pretty much every Sunday at 11 a.m. on our YouTube channel. It's all made possible by our fantastic sponsors who truly offer the best in services in South Florida, including our diamond sponsor, Best Roofing.
Yes.
And again, Eric is board certified by the Florida Bar in Community Association and Plan Development Law. Did you really want to get rid of the Florida Bar?
I'm sorry?
They want to get rid of the Florida Bar.
Oh, that I didn't hear.
Yeah, there was something about that with DeSantis. So I'll have to look it up. But anyway, that would take away.
That's what how do you regulate lawyers if there's no
Right.
Florida bar? Yeah.
Especially your son who's coming up.
Sounds impossible. Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah, and Eric's law firm has Glazer and Sachs has offices in Hollywood and Orlando, and we're here each week to answer all your calls and questions about the issues that make life in your condominium or HOA absolutely crazy from one minute to the next. So we want to get the phone lines going early. Give us a call. It's toll free. You can ask him a question about your HOA, condo, co-op, anything making you crazy. Or you can also ask in the chat. Sometimes people do both. It's 717-GLAZER-8. That's 717-452-9378. And again, chat box. Please, if we have people that are watching that are not subscribed, it really helps us if you do subscribe.
Absolutely. Hit subscribe and like. Much appreciated. And if you're a fan of the show, don't forget to do two things. Subscribe to the Condo Craze and HOAs channel on YouTube. You don't have to just watch the show live. You can watch it at your convenience. And a lot of people said that the other day. They love the fact that they can watch it when they want. That's the beauty of a podcast,
yeah.
right? That it's just like live on the radio.
Yep,
The
right.
ability-
Boom, and that was
the
it.
ability to watch it when they get a chance is something they really appreciate. And of course, join our email list at condocrazeandhoas.com. By joining each week, you can get announcements about the show, who our guests are, when our seminars are, what the new legislation is. Again, you can do that by going to condocrazeandhoas.com.
So, and don't forget, you can also follow us on the socials. We're on Facebook, we're on Apple, Spotify, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
And we do a blog every week at condocrazeandhoas.com. Before we get going, a little housekeeping. I just want to thank everybody that showed up at our Condo Craze and HOAs board certification class in Broward at the L&L Condo Craze Condo and HOA Expo, again in Broward this past Tuesday. It was really great meeting everybody, answering everybody's questions. So many people said, say hello to Karen.
Hello.
It was really nice, yeah.
And you also taught the HOA, so that was cool.
Condo,
You could do both.
HOA, and the 1 hour
continuing.
continuing education
So
class.
cool.
Right?
You
Yeah.
invented this whole thing. It's
Yeah.
so amazing. And I understand that they got to be, I saw the video,
Yeah,
so
you
I
saw
got to be a witness of this.
Yeah.
This was really special.
Yeah.
Your son, Brandon, came up to the microphone and
yes,
he
yeah.
told you a little secret.
It was something, Karen. And I'm in the middle of teaching the class, and the room's crowded, and all of a sudden Brandon walks through the door. We have a microphone set up in the middle of the room,
Right.
and I see him walking over to the microphone. I'm like, what is this nut doing? He's walking in. Why
Yeah,
is he
what are you
going to the
doing?
microphone ready? I'm like, okay, I guess I can't stop it. So he walks over to the microphone and he says, all right, I have an announcement to make. Okay, I figure it's about the seminar. I'm like, what is the announcement? And he says, I just got accepted to law school. Really, really great video. And the room
I know you were so happy.
erupts. I have to say it. Robert.
I did,
play
I
the
saw
tip.
it.
We actually have it on video. We're
Oh
going to
my
play
God,
it for
yes,
everybody.
good. Fantastic. I've known Brandon since he was
Yeah.
little tiny
Used to
Brandon.
start the show.
He used to
Welcome.
stay. My gosh. That's right.
Oh, all right. Well,
He'll
when it
find it.
comes up, when it comes back around, when you're able to do it, we'll put it up there.
That is
But
so
the
cool.
room really
So,
erupted. Yeah.
what law school is he going to now? You went because he's going to follow in your footsteps.
Except for law school. Except for law
You
school.
went to Brooklyn.
I went to University of Miami. I'm a kid.
That was,
All of
oh, that's
these
right. Law. I knew you
are
went to law
deemed
school. Now. I was
fraudulent
thinking
voting
undergrad.
College.
activities. Yeah.
But he's going to
Oh,
be
please.
a.
Just go closer. I just wanted to let you know that it's been accepted for law school.
Got it?
Fantastic. That is so cool.
Still with me.
Oh, you did that in front of all of you. That's
One
wonderful.
first year, every hour
All
I
right.
have is
Like
so
he told me
important.
one day if he wants to.
And I used to spend 3 hours a day traveling to Miami. If you can go 10
No.
minutes from the house,
The way education is today, and you and I
Yeah.
were talking about this off air,
yeah.
you get out of it what you put into
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Plus,
Yes.
there's all this other availability
Yep.
to you.
Yes.
I mean, he went through undergrad so
2.5
quickly.
years.
Yep.
Yep.
So he's gonna
Yeah.
be a shark.
I,
He's gonna be a shark.
So far, so good. Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Brandon.
little
Thank you, thank you.
Brandon. Or he's a big boy now.
He's
He's a man.
Exactly.
It's so cool. I'm so
All
proud
right,
of him.
back to business. Here we go. So first, over the past 2-3 weeks, we explained how doing the budget in smaller condos was becoming so difficult. Then we switched it to larger condominiums, how it's becoming so difficult to do the budget. But I left off perhaps the biggest reason why it's getting harder to prepare the budget. So here we go, and it is insane.
Yeah, I understand that there's not one but two budgets.
Yeah,
And so, I mean, you thought it was hard to prepare the one.
Right.
Wait until
Y-
why do they have to prepare two? But I don't get it.
Just either do I. Either
Go
do
ahead.
I. I don't get it either. But before we teach it, let's start with what is a fair assumption, okay? We agree every year it gets more and more expensive to run the condominium. Right.
For anything,
Right.
life.
Exactly. And life. There's so many different expenses in the condominium, right? Got insurance that goes up every year.
That's right. Management fees go up every year. Electricity, general
Right?
maintenance.
Like,
What does not go up?
Exactly.
Except the elevator was broken at our condo.
So that doesn't
didn't
go
go
up.
up.
That was good. Dum. So here's the new law, okay, for condominiums. And I'm telling you, members of the board out there, you will not like it. Okay, here's what the new law says.
This went into effect October 1st?
This is in effect already, July 1st.
Oh, July 1st.
July 1st, okay? So it's in effect. And again, boards are going to be putting these budgets out now or next month or
Okay.
December the latest. So here's what the new law says. If a board proposes in any fiscal year an annual budget which requires assessments against unit owners, which exceeds 115% of assessments for the preceding fiscal year, get ready, the board shall simultaneously propose a substitute budget that does not include any discretionary expenditures that are not required to be put in the budget.
So wouldn't that be indiscretionary expenditures?
don't
I don't
know.
understand
Well, I
because
don't- I don't know what that means. I have no idea. But
I mean,
let's
what would an
stop.
example be of a
I
discretionary
can't tell you.
expenditure?
Maybe it means a Christmas bonus that's put aside. So now you're Scrooge, right? You have to have
Or
a budget with
lighting trees.
lighting. I don't know. The statute really doesn't say what discretionary expenditures are. It would be nice if that's in there, but it's not in there. But let's keep going. The substitute budget must be proposed at the budget meeting before the adoption of the annual budget. At least 14 days before such budget meeting in which a substitute budget will be proposed, the board shall hand deliver to each unit owner or mail to each unit owner at the address last furnished to the association a notice of the meeting. An officer or manager of the association or other person providing notice of the meeting shall execute an affidavit evidencing compliance with this notice requirement, and the affidavit shall be filed among the official records. So the board has to propose the substitute budget to the owners at the meeting before the board votes on either budget.
Okay, so you have one budget that's 115% more than
Right.
the last year.
Okay.
Because it's so fat, you have to come up with
With
another budget that's
at
leaner.
the same time.
That's leaner.
That's leaner.
So
Correct.
you have two.
So now, which one? So now you have to draft two. It's hard enough to draft one, right? Especially if managers draft the budgets too. It's hard enough to draft one budget. Now you got to draft two. Okay. So now, which one gets adopted at the meeting? Okay, so here's how this works. Unit owners must consider and may adopt a substitute budget at the meeting. A substitute budget is adopted if approved by a majority of all voting interests, unless the bylaws require adoption by a greater percentage of voting interest. If a substitute budget is not adopted, the annual budget previously initially proposed by the board may be adopted.
But so it goes up 115% because of the assessments, which they have to pay to adhere to the new laws.
Right,
So
but
how can you go with a cheaper budget?
reserves don't count. Reserves don't go into the 115% number. You can take that out, okay?
So this is a
But
Doge thing.
and in fact, yeah, that's a really good way of putting it. But here's how it's going to work. If the unit owners now get to vote on whether or not they want, picture how this is going to go down at the meeting. They get to vote on whether or not they want the cheaper budget or the more expensive budget. But the only way that the more expensive, the lesser expensive budget goes into effect is if a majority of all owners vote in favor of the lesser expensive budget at that meeting.
That was notified
Correct.
14 days before.
Correct.
So they have to decide whether or not they want to give up this discretionary stuff.
Correct.
Which we're not really
And
clear.
no one knows what
is
the
that.
discretionary stuff is. I mean, you would think that there shouldn't be discretionary stuff in the budget to begin with.
Right.
But the bottom line is, I would say 3/4 of the people that we're talking to right now, their budget's probably going to go up by 15% over last year.
But not
right?
115.
Well, you know what? That's great. That's. I'm so glad you said that, because what does 115% mean? Right?
A
The
lot
way
of
the way the
garbage.
statute isn't. I can tell you this: the way the statute is interpreted, it's interpreted to mean it went up by 15%. Okay. If I said, now let's take a little survey in this room. If I said the budget went up by 115%, what would you think? If the budget was $100 last year,
It
Rob,
doubled
you're a
plus
smart.
15.
It doubled plus 15. Rob, what would you think that means? Do you think the same way, or it's budget went up by 115%?
That's
What would you say?
women's math
If the
right
pr-
there.
Right. What would you think, Rob? 115% number.
I don't know.
And he's in charge of all the crap we hear, and it's a little scary,
Don't make Rob do math.
And right, maybe he doesn't know math. Keep him away. But is it 15% or is it 115%? Right. But I can tell you the intent of it is if it went up by only 15%. But even that's worded poorly. It should say that if the budget went up by 15%,
That's a whole different
instead,
animal.
you would think, right? But even that's worded wrong. But I can tell you the intent of it is that if the budget went up by 15%, you now have to propose this alternative budget. Okay? But you're right. You're confused by what the number actually means. I can tell you the intent of it is that it's
It
only
goes up
15%.
100% of what last year's budget plus 15.
That's
What they-
not the intent. That's how
Oh.
you read it, and I get it. The intent is all this kicks in if it only went up by 15%.
Yeah, but no, I do get it
Yeah.
because you have 100% of last year's
Right.
budget.
And if it goes
and
up
then
by
it goes
15,
up another 15 of
correct.
the 100%.
But I
But
agree
becau-
with it. But you see the way you read it, you didn't read it that way, and I
It
agree with
sounds
you.
very scary.
I agree with you. But anyway, when I was, if you're confused, think about this. I was teaching the class on Tuesday, and between this new law regarding two budgets, all the new mandatory reserves, the mandatory repair laws, the mandatory website language, the mandatory record keeping statute, and all the ways now that directors can be arrested by screwing up,
Why
I gotta tell
bother?
you, everybody's looking at me during this class and telling me, actually, what the hell do I need this for? I hate saying that, but that's the truth. You don't know how many people came over to me and said, I give up. I really do give up. I just can't do it anymore. And not only are board members starting to freak out and say, this is just crazy, and what's the reward for doing all of this? All of the new laws that seek to arrest me.
Headache and
Right,
arrest.
Right. So, and I got to say that not only are board members feeling this way, remember, the boards look to their managers to do all of this.
Right.
This is complicated stuff for managers too. It's not just complicated for board members. Managers to to be quite frank, they didn't go to law school and take all these, legal classes and
Yeah,
stuff
do the
like that.
cams have to come to your class?
Cams do have to take continuing legal education. Yes, they do.
Okay.
But this is hard stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard stuff for cams, and it's just getting harder. There's a lot more things that cams have to do to keep your community compliant with the laws. And there's no way, I'll say this right out in support of cams and management companies, there's no way that they're going to be able to continue to manage your association for the prices that are currently in effect, because the amount of work that cams now have to do just keeps going up and up and up. So I got to tell you, look to prices for community association management firms to go up much higher, because they're devoting far more resources now than they used to, and makes perfect sense. And I think they're entitled to it, quite
But if
frankly.
your budget doesn't balloon,
If your
however,
budget doesn't
then
balloon,
you're
then you
good.
do your one budget.
Ignore all this.
But I'm telling you, probably
It will.
it's 2/3 to 3/4. I would tell you right now, they're going to go up by 15%
And
this
is that
year.
because of inflation?
Yes.
Yeah.
If it was any normal year, right? Any normal year, it would go up 5 to 7% anyway.
Right.
Right. So with everything else that's going on, right, we're still dealing with what is it, supply chain problems and things
Right.
of that nature, and tariffs and whatever that. It's certainly going to go up by 15%.
And this doesn't include the reserves.
It doesn't include reserves. You don't have to worry about reserves being put into that number.
So maybe they're just trying to throw a bone and say, we're trying to rein in your budget because you got the reserves over here.
Well, okay, rein it in by saying no discretionary spending. But what is discretionary spending?
Trees lighted for the
It's
holidays.
how about electricity?
Oh, that's not a luxury.
Right. Is that a luxury? Right. So it would be nice if the statute said actually what
What
discretionary
it, yeah,
funding
they
is.
defined it.
Anyway, but I can tell you, people are starting to say, I don't need this for the first time. But Rob, we have a task for you, young man. I want to do a show where we actually get board members on this show.
Yeah.
Okay? Board members that do it from both sides. Let's hear both sides of the equation. Board members who think, nope, I'll never walk away. I always want to do this for my community. And board members who have done or said what I'm talking about right now. It's gotten to a point where it's just out of control.
No reward.
No, yeah, exactly. So we want to get emails
So
from.
I'm
Yes.
putting my email on the screen right now. So if you want to come on the show, just email me there, robert@condocrazeandhoas.com.
All right, board members, it's out there. We want you on the show. They're going to come in. None of this Zoom stuff. We want them here. We want them under oath. We want them under cross-examination.
Are
No,
you
I'm kidding.
sure?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Wait,
It'll
we'll
be
do-
fun.
we'll do the
Relax. It'll
Zoom.
be
Let's
great.
do the Zoom.
It'll be a lot of fun. We look forward to having you guys. You are the success of the show. Thank you very much. But let's hear what the rest of you guys think out there. Give us a call in the studio, 717-452-9378. Again, 717-452-9378, or drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. We will be back right after this.
In South Florida, the transition from bright sunshine to heavy rain and hurricanes can take a toll on your property's exterior and structural integrity. Cracked stucco, spalled concrete, they're more than eyesores. They can signal deeper issues. Now, with new Florida laws involving structural integrity requirements, we want to help you meet your milestone inspections and maintain the durability and beauty of your building. Since 2004, PD has been the trusted expert in structural concrete restoration, painting, and waterproofing for condominiums and commercial properties. Visit pd-concrete.com or call us today.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
And welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs here on our YouTube channel. If you want to give Eric a call, he's board certified in Community Association Law 717 Glazer 8 with a Z. That's 717-452-9378. And I had said at the beginning of the show, because Brandon, your son, got
Yes.
accepted to a law school, and there had been a story that Governor DeSantis was trying to get rid of the Florida bar. They're saying, no, what he's really doing is what he wants to do is allow attorneys to practice law 3 years prior to getting
Admitted?
admitted to the bar,
How is that
like
possible?
passing the bar.
I have no idea how that's possible.
And
I'm
people
cer-
are like, that's
eh,
like public safety problems
It's
and stuff.
insane.
You have to
Yeah.
pass the.
Y-
You
y-
can
you
pass the
think?
bar without taking law school, right?
Yeah.
If you pass the
It-
bar, you can practice.
If you no, you got to go to
Oh.
law school. You got to go to an ABA accredited law school. As a matter of fact, not every law school is even accredited. So you got to, in order to practice here in Florida, you got to pass the bar and go to an accredited law school, both. I can't imagine it being any other way.
Yeah.
You know,
Whatever.
just making things too easy.
Right.
You know,
So
dropping our standards all over the place.
we've confused you so much, and what we're saying is that there's two budgets if your budget goes up by 15%.
Yes, if it goes up by 15%, that's the way. If it's 100, it should say if it was 115% of last year's budget, but it's just worded poorly. Very
Well,
poorly
I'm
worded.
not an accountant, but
Yes.
if you have that situation going on or something else, give us a call 717-452-9378.
Who do we got, Rob? Who's the first call of the day?
All right, let's go to, we don't have a name, but if you hear the beep, you are live.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Hi, hi, Eric. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Excellent class in Broward. I loved it.
Thank you, Julia.
Brendan,
Appreciate it.
Brendan was hilarious.
Oh, you were there when it went down, right?
Yeah, he's wanting his job as a trial lawyer. He's glorious.
That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, my comment on the reward for board members. I would be a board member for one reason: not to be governed by wasteful, thieving idiots who will ruin the residents and my investment. That would be a reason for me, and that was
Good
the
point.
reason for
That
me.
is a good point.
Okay. So you
to
think that
questions.
so you would do it because you think, I'm just going to say this in a different way. You would do it because you think you're smarter than the people that are already on the board.
I would not use the word smarter. I would use the words honorable,
Okay.
trustworthy, and more effective.
Okay.
I don't have to be smarter.
When board members hear that, their natural comeback to that is, okay, smarty pants, it's all yours. Do you want to take it? And most people say, no, I don't want it. It's okay. You keep it. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want the
Well, then-
responsibility that the board members are putting in.
Then they are not honorable.
They're not honorable because they don't want to serve.
They are not honorable because they're saying something which is inconsistent
Oh,
with their action.
Oh, you're saying the board members are not honorable. Well, board members are.
No.
Those who don't want to serve.
No,
are
those
not
who
honorable.
don't want to serve. Okay. Because board members
Yeah,
get
if
beat
they
up all
claim-
the time.
If
Yeah.
they claim that they would do a better job, but then they decline the opportunities to serve, that they're not honorable.
And there,
That's
I
what I'm
agree
saying.
with I agree with you 100%. If don't sit there, put down your board all the time. And listen, board members are certainly they're there and they're because they're in that position. That's all right. They can face criticism. Right?
But it
That's
may
fine.
be that the people that live in the condo or the HOA who decide to run for the board are more educated people now, like lawyers and
Mhm.
accountants and people. Maybe they'll step up. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? Now that
Well,
it's more.
there's talk there. And there was talk last year of maybe passing a bill that would allow members of the board to get paid. Okay. Right now, you're only allowed to get paid if your bylaws allow for it. There was talk of maybe allowing board members to get some sort of remuneration so that the thinking is, well, maybe we'll get people who are experts to go on the board if they can make money doing this.
And so then the budget will go up 15% to pay the board
There
members.
you go, and they'll have to do 6 budgets. I don't know. You put a lawyer on that board, they're going to have to do a dozen budgets, right? I mean, come on, we know that. But
Not
like,
necessarily. If the board members are going to get paid, another side of that story is there have to be qualifications.
Okay, I can
have to
I
understand
like
that.
that. I
qualifications.
like that.
One without the other is garbage.
So okay, so maybe you would say what? What are the type of people that would be entitled to draw a salary if they're
Lawyer,
on the board?
accountant.
Yeah, a lawyer and accountant, I think would.
Not necessarily. There needs to be a very reasonable, because you don't have lawyers and accountants in 55 plus, for example.
Sure you
But
do. You have
there needs to
retired
be
Yes,
a
you do.
people.
You
set
have
of
retired ones.
qualifications that is compatible with the type of job, just a regular job qualification
Yeah.
requirement,
Well, I
just
can
like for
keep
any
going.
other job.
What about architects, engineers,
Yeah,
right? They
love
certainly
it.
should be able to
Love it.
be on a board, and if anybody was allowed to draw, they should certainly be allowed to
I mean,
have
you
one as
were
well.
always like, why should a plumber be making these decisions?
Not me, not me. There's a joke about that. But the 300. Well, you just charged me $300 to fix my sink. Are you kidding me? A lawyer doesn't get that. And the plumber says, "Well, I used to be
He's
a
a
lawyer."
good
as a plumber."
businessman.
Used to
I
be a
would
lawyer.
stand like that on the board.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Julia, thank you for always listening, and thank you.
Let me go to my question. I had
Yeah.
a question.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, content. So now there is a requirement for the timing of notices. Let's say an owner received a notice regarding violation to appear at the grievance committee, not 14 days prior to, but let's say 13 days prior to.
Mhm.
And the owner shows up at the grievance committee and announces that there is a procedural noncompliance. So the question is that fine or violation negated, dropped, and is there a double jeopardy situation? Can the owner be charged with the same violation
I
again?
think 14 days is 14 days. And if
Mhm.
you don't have, if you're not given the 14 days notice and it was done incorrectly, then the fine is non-enforceable. Now, can they go back and then give the owner the 14 days notice? Say, okay, you're right,
Mhm.
we didn't do it right, so we'll put it in front of the fining committee again. We'll renotice it. Can they do that and give a proper 14-day notice? I think they can do that. Sure.
Okay, so there is no double jeopardy.
No,
in this
not at all.
situation.
I don't
They
think
can
there would
do
be
it.
double jeopardy there at all. Good question, though. I really like the question, but no, I think they can just renotice it.
Sounds good. Thanks a
Okay?
lot.
Thanks so much,
You
Julia.
guys are great.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Let's do this. Let's take the bottom of the hour break. When we get back, let's talk about the seminars because there's a lot of them coming up now in
Yep.
like shotgun fashion. So we'll review the schedule when we get back as well. Keep the calls coming in 717-452-9378, 717-452-9378, or drop us a comment on the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
There are very large management companies and there are very small management companies. And I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Condo Craze and HOAs here in our YouTube channel. Taking your calls, the number to call toll free, 717 Glazer 8, that's 717-452-9378. And you've been busy.
Yeah, by the way, thank you everybody for the congratulations for Brandon. Much appreciated. Yeah, we are now smack dab into it. The education season, as you know, everybody. If you don't get certified now by taking an educational class within 90 days of getting on the board, you are off the board. And you know what's interesting? Again, why I don't know. This is what happens when laws may be rushed through, but you can take the class within 90 days, not only after 90 days of getting on the board, but within 1 year before getting on the board,
Oh,
if you're in a condominium,
but not an HOA.
not in an HOA. In an HOA, you have to take the class only after you've been elected to the board. Why? Why shouldn't they
Because
mirror
people that
each
own
other?
homes forget.
It's because I think the legislators don't ask us to how about sit down, go
Mirror.
over this, and see if it makes sense for. No, it's just filed, it's rushed through, and this is what you get sometimes. It doesn't make any sense that
No.
someone in an HOA can't take the class before getting on the board.
And if they
But now
do,
they're
it doesn't
rushed. They got
count.
the 90 day. It doesn't count, right? Technically, it doesn't count. But they have only 90 days now to take the class once they get on the board. But these are the things that they learn when they get to the course, actually. So let's start going over when those dates are. We just finished the one in Broward on October 7th, and the next one is coming up this week.
Palm
We'll be in
Beach.
Palm Beach on the 16th. I think that's Thursday.
Yep, and that's going to be at the convention center. These are all L&O condominium and HOA expos starting at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, so Palm Beach is this week, 8 o'clock in the morning on Thursday.
Then Tampa is October 21st, 8 a.m.
And then we're back a week later in those neck of the woods in Bradenton, October 29th.
And then Miami, November 5th.
Miami, they better finally have a good turnout in Miami. We expect one. Orlando, November 12th. So
Okay.
we're really going to be all over the state. What a busy month.
Very good. And to register, just go to www.condocraze and HOAs. It's all one word,
Yeah.
no hyphens.com. He teaches everything, including the new safety, inspection, reserve funding laws, importance of the from time to time language that
By the
may
way,
exempt
that
you.
is by far the most important thing now that
It
we
is.
teach at the seminars, because with every new law that comes out, this is really important for everybody to understand. With every new law that comes out, right, because of the way the position the Florida Supreme Court put us in, with every new law that comes out, you have to say, wait a minute,
Does it apply?
does that change the contract? If your deck in any way, if it does, do I have as amended from time to time language?
Which is Kaufman language.
Common language. Eric, if we don't, do these laws even apply where we live? And I got to tell you, in a lot of circumstances, I have to look at the crowd and say, I know I'm teaching these and I'm required to teach them, but if you don't have as amended from time to time language in your governing documents, yeah, a lot of these don't apply to you.
It's a
And-
get out of jail free card.
Yes, and it's interesting because one gentleman at the seminar says, so Eric, I guess immediately we have to amend our documents to have as amended from time to time language put in. And I'm like, wait a minute, you may not feel that way when all is said and done, especially if you live in an HOA. Like all these new laws that say, even though we have regulations in our documents of no pickup trucks, now we have to allow pickup trucks.
Right.
Even though we have regulations in our documents that say no commercial
You have to
vehicles,
get
no
all
lettering.
the laws that
Yeah,
apply. Now, what's to preclude you from, having
one at a
reserves
time?
and doing everything
Right, you can,
without
right.
the language?
Take the ones that you like and
Right.
don't take the ones that you
Right.
don't like, doing them one at a time. So that's
Or
one
that
way
you
of looking.
need.
Yes, well, right, exactly.
Not that you
So,
like it.
I tell you, I teach the class now. It's the first time I'm teaching with the 2024 laws and the 2025 laws.
Lord.
And I'm teaching it and I'm saying it's too much. It's just too much to throw at people.
It's like a
And
fire hose
It's
of
like
information.
just so much for the average person on the board. So, what can I tell you? Take it slow. Make sure you have good legal counsel, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to ask. That's the bottom line. Back to the phones, Rob.
All right, let's go to Juliet in Central Florida. You're live.
Hello, good morning. I
morning.
have a quick question. I know there are new laws regarding parking on the street and pickup trucks.
That's what we're
I have a
talking
neighbor whose friend has parked his truck one of those big extended cab truck since April 30th in front of my unit, and it's just been sitting there. Can we do anything about it?
Unless
That seems to
your
be like storage or vehicle. Yeah.
yeah, well, unless your association has specific rules against storage of vehicles, the answer might be no. The fact that it's a pickup truck in and of itself is not enough to have that vehicle removed, because a pickup truck now is allowed to park anywhere else that any other vehicle is allowed to park anywhere in the community. So it's not, there's nothing illegal in and of itself that a pickup truck is parked in that spot, unless you have some other provision of the governing documents that say that vehicle is in effect being stored because it hasn't been moved in 5 months. And I think the board certainly has a right to follow up with it and say, why is that friend's vehicle sitting there?
Interesting.
So the person doesn't even live there, is what you're saying, right?
He visits. He's the boyfriend. He's on and off, but the truck has been there parked since April 30th. It
Well,
has not
when
moved.
the guest is no longer in the property, right? That guest shouldn't be allowed to store that vehicle at that property. So, meaning in the association,
Right.
if the person isn't in the
Yeah, because our
community,
doc does say that storage of vehicle has to be
Oh.
behind the fence, in your garage or on your driveway.
well, then there
can't
you go.
store.
Bottom line is that the people don't even live there, right? And they're keeping their vehicle
Right.
there
It's an
for
HOA?
months on. It's an HOA. Yeah, I would tell you, the association, that you want that corrected and you want it towed. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
with
Thank
you on
you
that
so much. I
100%.
appreciate it.
Sure thing.
So I've got a truck in
Take
my
care. Have a good.
condo. Thank
You
you.
got it. Condo's different.
Okay, that's what I
Condo's
thought. Yeah,
different.
so
Yeah,
it's
I'm
not
asked that all the
storage.
time too.
Okay.
No, well, what I'm saying is condos don't have this new statute,
Oh,
right? So condos can still have provisions in their documents that say no commercial vehicles,
okay.
no lettering, right? No work vehicles of any kind. But the new statute that came out only applied
Okay.
to HOAs.
Of
Okay.
course.
Okay. So even more confusing.
Yes.
Again, why these things don't mirror each other, I don't know. And it's just getting more confusing and more confusing and more confusing. Who else we got, Rob?
All right, let's go to the next caller. Is David from St. Petersburg.
Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. I guess I'm confused on this new law on the budgets, in that our bylaws and rules say that the board votes on the budget after presenting it to the membership.
Right.
Now, does this take that away? We do have the as amended from time to time in our
Okay. So
budget.
if
in
your
our,
budget,
box.
okay, if your budget has not gone up by the 115% number, right? That's included in the statute, then the board still is the one that votes on that budget. Okay. So the board votes on passing that budget. Okay. But let's say now it's gone up by that 115%, right? So now the board is going to propose two budgets. One that's gone up 115%, one without any discretionary spending whatsoever. We go to that meeting, and if the unit owners must look at that substitute budget and determine whether or not they want to adopt it. But if you don't get the votes, if you don't get a majority of unit owners to vote in favor of that substitute budget, then the original budget proposed by the board, which is 115% of last year's budget or more, that budget gets voted in by the board and shall pass. Got it?
Okay.
I don't even know what I said.
Appreciate it.
I don't
And,
either.
and just a side note,
Yes.
you're talking about the parking on the HOA. Isn't an HOA still a public street? I know.
No,
in
not
St.
necessarily.
Petersburg, she might want to check. The law says if they're parked for more than 3 days without moving,
That's
then you
great.
can call the cops on it.
That's an excellent point. So some HOAs, like the one I live in, the streets are still owned by the city, right? So let's say our community needs paving, right? So the city paves our streets. But in some associations that have a front gate, for example, right? the association owns those streets.
So they just let
So the
anybody
association
into
can make those
your
rules. Right. In my association,
They
right,
just
you
let
can
anybody.
come in.
But what if it's parked in the driveway?
If I'm sorry, if
The
what
pickup.
if the pickup truck is parked in a driveway in an HOA now,
Yeah,
there's
stored.
nothing you can do about
Oh,
it.
it's just
Yes.
in the street.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. Hope that answers your question. Sometimes the streets are dedicated to the city. Sometimes they're not, and they're still owned by the association. Totally different ballgame there. But
All right.
that's a great point that you came up with, that there are certain regulations that a municipality may have that say, nope, you can only leave your car in one spot for 3 days. If not, you're saying the municipality can have it towed. And that's great. Yeah, that's something she should consider as well. Thank you so much for the
Yeah,
call.
then the onus isn't on the board, it's on the
Right,
city.
then it's the city,
Thank
but
you,
then you
bye.
can complain
Yeah.
to the city.
Yeah, go to the city.
Pretty smart.
But wouldn't the city already be out? I mean, who narcs to the city?
I guess the city can send over somebody to
Yeah.
tow the vehicle, right?
But
Or a
someone
code
has to tell
enforcement
the
officer
yeah.
that can come out today and then come back in 2 days, and if it's
Right.
still there, right?
Right.
Then they can have it towed. But a lot of good questions and comments. All right, let's do this. Let's take our final break of the hour. Keep the calls coming in. Do not wait to the last second. 717-452-9378, or drop us a question or comment in the chat box on YouTube. We'll be back right after this.
Rimkus Consultants offer the professional expertise to help condominium and cooperative communities provide safe, compliant buildings for their tenants. We have more than 170 Florida licensed engineers and architects who are experienced with local regulations and can assist with Senate Bill 4D compliance. We can help with milestone structural inspections, capital expenditure evaluations, structural integrity reserve studies, and developer transition reports. Focusing on energy, resilience, maintainability, and sustainability, our experts can help with every phase of the building life cycle. For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkus.com.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new. By means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
Okay, so we're back to condo craze and HOAs, and we are, contemplating the lint in our belly buttons here because we're trying to figure out logic base says whether your budget has gone up to 115% or up by 15%. It depends on what the definition of is here, or of.
Is it of? Yeah, if your budget is 115% of last year's budget, so to me that means it went up by 15%.
Okay.
But the
Up
way
to
that
or
it's
not by?
the way it's gone up by 115%, to me, I read it your way.
Yes.
Doubled plus 15%.
Right.
Believe me when I tell you that's not the intent of the statute. The intent here is if it went up by 15%, you give everybody a substitute budget. Is that the way that statute reads? In my mind, absolutely not. I
But
agree
how
with
does
you.
it really go? So has it gone up to? That even doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
It's of or by.
Yeah, I the way it's the way it's drafted right now, totally wrong.
Makes
That's
no
the way I see
sense.
it. Back to you, Rob. Who do we got?
All right, let's go to Bill in Hollywood.
How are you, Bill? Bill, you there? Okay, take the next call.
I'm here.
Oh, here you go, Bill. How are you?
Sorry about that. I attended Tuesday's class, which I just found so fascinating. I'm not a board member, but a unit owner.
Look at him.
Oh, great.
And
That's fantastic. That's great.
Yep. And I think more unit owners should attend this.
That's
It
great.
opens up their eyes to
Love
what's going
this
on.
call. So that includes you, right? It opens up your eyes to what's happening.
Exactly. Now, my question is, our board has not provided us owners the annual report, the independent audit report for the last 3 years.
Oh, God.
What can we do?
Just to make sure, you're in a condo or an HOA?
Condo,
You're in a
right here
condo.
in Hillcrest.
Okay, you're in Hillcrest. Well, that's a significant problem. Okay, significant. I will tell you, and I
Isn't
always
it
say this.
illegal?
Yeah, that's absolutely in serious violation of the statute. I always say this to the DBPR's credit. When they find out that a board of directors has done something wrong, they really don't want to hurt the association. They'd rather teach you how to do things the right way going forward. The exception to that rule is when it comes to the year-end financial report. If a board has not given a year-end financial report to the owners in years, that's a sign to the people in Tallahassee that say, wait a minute, what the hell are they trying to hide?
Right.
Is there a tremendous amount of money missing? Okay, and is that the reason why they don't want to do the year-end financial report? So that is something, to me, that's about as serious as it gets. And yes, I would immediately, if not sooner, file a complaint with the DBPR and let them know that there hasn't been a year-end financial report in 3 years. There's no doubt that they should investigate that immediately. And the new statutes say that they're supposed to try to resolve this within 30 days. I am definitely not promising you that, but I do promise you that there will be an investigation into this. And they will order the association, after hitting you guys with a tremendous amount of fines, they will order your association to do these year-end financial.
And who
audit.
actually compiles it?
A CPA. Yeah. How many now? So you're in a big building in they're all big buildings.
84 units.
I'm sorry.
184 units.
184 units. So your budget well exceeds $500,000 a year. So which means
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you guys had to do an audit every single year.
And shouldn't that be on the website?
It should be posted on the website as well.
Which is another violation.
Another violation. 3 years in a row of not having a year-end financial report. Serious violation. That I can tell you.
And there was money or checks stolen out of the office.
Well,
Yep.
you know, it's
I
time.
think
It's
part of
time
that is
to.
that they didn't want it to come out.
Well, we
it's
can't
out.
start
It
impugning
couldn't be
people.
any more out than it is right now. It's out. Okay. So the cat's out of the bag, so to speak. So bottom line is, yes, if any of my friends or relatives live there, I would say you go to the DBPR immediately, and have them start an investigation, because that when this happens, it's a signal, it's a red flag that I'm not saying that money's definitely missing. I'm not saying that, but before I said anything, you told me there's checks that are missing. So yeah, it's now time to start that investigation.
So how do you know if your budget's up 115% if you don't have a
If you don't
year-end
even have the
financial?
year-end, right? I mean,
so how do you know
well,
how much?
yes, did they even pass a budget last year?
The most famous quote you said Tuesday, Eric, was, if you have a 50 units and less, you can manage it yourself. But over 50, you need a management
There's no
company.
question. There's no question. Yeah, that issue came up. That's right. Thanks for remembering that. People were saying, is it possible to manage yourself? And I'm like, at the end of the course, I'm like, do you still think it's possible to manage yourself with all these new laws that you now have to comply with? What do you think? You think it's still possible? It's not possible. I mean, management companies are having a difficult time complying with all these new laws. So never mind people that are not trained to do all this. But I so appreciate this call, and I love the fact that you came on and right away said, after the class, you understand just how difficult this job has become.
Here's a man that's not even on the board. He lives there, and he took Eric's class.
So I guess you're obviously in favor, if you have to, of paying a little more money to have professional management.
Correct.
Way to
Correct.
go.
And more that I tell people this, they're starting to open up their minds to it.
It's a no-brainer, and I really appreciate the fact that you came forward today and you understand just how difficult it is to be a board member. But you must,
Well, I
you must
appreciate
follow
you
up.
teaching your co-
Thank you so much. I'm glad you had a good time on Tuesday.
Shouldn't the
But definitely
attorney
follow up.
understand that? Their attorney?
I don't know, maybe
Thank
the attorney doesn't know,
Oh, how
right?
can
But
that
yeah, the
be?
attorney for the association should certainly be made aware of it.
Do you request when the people that you
No, they
work
don't
with?
have to
Oh,
send it to me, but if someone, if I got an
you got
email from this
you'd
gentleman, if I
ask
was
for it.
representing the association, I'd be like, what? Stop, Eric, what you're doing,
Yeah,
right? And contact that board immediately and
yeah,
find out what the hell's going on.
right.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay. Thank you so much for the call. Great call. Who else we got, Rob?
Just one quick comment on that. I
Yeah.
hear so often from self-managed associations that the board members complain about having to do so much. And one of the things I tell these self-managed associations, well, you wouldn't have to if you had a property management
Of
company,
course, of course.
because all that falls back onto the board.
100%. If you're small, and when I say small, at the seminar I said 50 units. I don't even know if you can do it if you're 50 units anymore.
So it's on
But
the property management people to come up with the year-end report?
it's no, it's on your CPA to do it. But
Okay.
at least the property management company knows to ask the CPA
Okay.
to do it. Sometimes the people on the board don't even know to ask. Oh, really? I didn't know we had to do this year-end financial report, and that may very well be true. Yeah.
How do you determine a budget the next year if you don't have a year-end report?
Well, you don't need the year-end report to actually make the budget. The year-end report just shows like what you spent last
Yeah.
year, how much money is in the bank, if
It shows you.
if things have been audited or not. Did we verify monies that are owed to the association? Did we verify the type of litigation that's going on? And again, that association is $500,000 or more. Not only do they have to do a year-end financial report, they have to do the most sophisticated year-end financial report, and they didn't do it. So big problem with that association. Who else we got, Rob?
All right, let's go to Steve from Broward County.
How are you, Steve?
Hi, this is Steve.
Good morning.
Good morning. I had one question, but I was listening to your last caller about the requirement for property management if it's 50 or more units. So I'm going to start with that question if you don't
Well,
mind.
it's not a
and then I can
requirement. It's
go
not a
into-
requirement. Hold on.
Well,
Okay, it's not a requirement. So let me be clear about something. There is absolutely no requirement to have professional management, even if you're 1,000 condominium units or HOA homes. Okay, there's
okay.
no requirement whatsoever. The board can self-manage. Okay, the board can
Really?
self-manage.
Okay.
But if you're going to hire people to work with you, then those people better be managed, better be professional. Okay, they better have a license, and not only does the person working there have to have a license, does the CAM have to have a license, but if you're hiring a company, that company has to have a license as well. Okay, so both.
Got it. That you snuffed that very succinctly. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. We've got approximately 1,000 units between 6 buildings. It's a condo in Broward County. They're thinking about giving approximately 50 employees, that's just a big round number I'm throwing out there, a 401k. And I'm, as a board member, a little alarmed because they've been crying wolf so much about, not having enough money, but yet they seem to have put away or squirreled away in various ways that they can do, especially in a pooled situation,
Right.
where they feel comfortable about, with everyone should have a livable wage, right? We don't have contractors like for landscaping and maintenance and
Yeah.
housekeeping because we have all these internal departments with employees, and now they're considering giving the 401k. And I said, well, I hope you're going to bring this, sound this out with the residents. No, this is part of the operating budget, so we don't have to.
It is because it's their
Is
own
there-
money.
Yeah, I think the board probably does have the right
Yeah.
to contract with the managers that they're hiring. So you're not going through a company, you're hiring managers.
No, and we don't have a professional outside manager. When you say that, their manager, property manager, a CAM certified is all internal. They're employees.
Right, they're employees. So
And that's
now
their
the
money.
argument goes, well, if you want to hire the best people, if you want to get people with the best qualifications, maybe the thinking is that you get better talent if you offer a 401k. Maybe that's the way the
Yes,
board
that
looks
is
at it,
what
right?
that is their thinking, and also to keep employees because they have a
Right.
problem with turnover, for instance, for the security
Exactly.
department.
So maybe
But
that's
unless
the
they're
expense,
matching on
the
the
liability
401k,
you're
right.
creating.
then you need to get a
Right,
pension.
and but Karen raises a very good point. If they're not matching on the
It's their own money.
401k, then it's their own money going in. But if they're matching on the
Big
401k,
difference.
that's a different story. Now you are spending the association's funds, and so let's keep playing on this. So then, if your budget goes up by 15% and it's a 401k,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Is it discretionary? And the
Oh,
answer
yes.
Right,
is, well,
right.
wait, hold
A
on.
whole can
It's
of worms.
not
Why?
discretionary
Okay.
if you have a contractual obligation to
Oh,
pay
you
it,
have to
right?
do
You
it.
have to pay it. How's that
Exactly. It
discretionary?
becomes a liability that
Right.
grows exponentially into the
Exactly.
future.
Exactly. So, like I said, it just keeps
It's
getting
just
harder and harder and harder to
unbelievable.
figure out. But this is a good call.
Yeah.
And then, like we said before, what about Christmas bonuses in and of itself?
Right.
Is there an
There
obligation
you
to do
go.
it or
There you
not?
go.
Right? If
They're
there's not an
already doing
obligation, that's
Christmas bonuses.
discretionary.
Like, where does it end?
Right.
What you get a landscaping job nowadays, and you're supposed to have a lifetime, a pension and a
Yeah.
livable wage when you
All I'll
decided
say
to
Well,
this.
that's
pension
life when you
pension's
chose not to
different
go
from
to
a
school.
401k.
Well, let me say this. The job of a manager is to me, it's a professional job. It's people who are licensed. It's people who took a course to pass an exam, and it's people, quite frankly, who want to make a career out of it. They want to serve at your community for
I'm not forget about
years
the
or
property manager. If
decades.
it was
Yeah,
just the managers, excuse me, Eric, if it was
yeah.
just the managers, that would be okay. We're talking about all the employees.
Oh, meaning what? Oh, the landscaping people, like you said, and
The
the
landscapers, the
janitorial staff, and
housekeepers, people who are off the boat from Haiti or the Dominican Republic or whatever. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not disparaging. I'm just saying zero education. You can't even understand them. They don't understand you. In other words, and you're going to want to give them a 401k. What that doesn't
hey,
make sense.
again, the thinking is that this is how you retain people. And let me tell you, I think it's important to retain people in a community. I think the residents that live there love the fact that the staff is there for, years and years on end. They get to know the staff. They tend to expect good things from the staff. Just makes the community feel more like a community when the staff stays a greater period of time.
But
I mean,
lawn maintenance people aren't
well,
paid.
they hire, they have
There's
them
a
on staff.
company. Oh, they have them
No,
on
they have them on
staff.
staff. Yeah.
They don't
I
hire a
mean,
company?
look, I'm in favor of treating everybody, as good as you can, if it means retaining them in your community.
I'd like a
But
pension.
I so would I, damn it. But
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, what's good for the goose is good for
yeah,
the guinea
lawyers
pig.
have no pension. It's funny. We'll talk. It's very funny what we say because a lot of lawyers, we don't have pensions and things of that nature. And then a lot of lawyers find themselves that they just worked 50 years
And they got nothing.
and they lived, a fancier
Sure.
life. And you know what they have in the end? Like you just said, nothing.
Right.
So if you're not careful, you wind up doing the janitorial work at the community you used to represent.
But then you
See?
get a pension.
But then you get a pension.
Hello.
Exactly. Anyway, on that note,
Okay, thank you for taking
you
my
got
call.
it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Appreciate it.
so much. On that note, that brings us to the end of another confusing episode of
Yeah.
Condo Craze and HOAs, right? I mean, it's even becoming hard to teach this
I'm
stuff
sure.
because sometimes, for the people that are listening at home, it has to sound like, on a lot of ways, we're talking in circles.
Yeah.
Because that's the way the laws currently are, and it all depends on whether or not you have the as amended from time to time language. So it's oftentimes difficult to get a yes or no answer on so many things now. It's hard, but you have to know to ask the question.
Right.
That's the important thing.
And then you have to see the documents.
And see the documents, and and again, without having professional staff, look, there's still people out there that don't want to have an attorney. They
You
don't
can't. You
want to
have.
pay
You
the
must. You
condo
must. You must.
attorney. Well,
The other thing is, I think you nailed it with discretionary. If there's a contract
it's not
associated,
discretionary
that's right.
anymore.
So if there's a contract involved, it's not discretionary.
Absolutely not. How could it be discretionary?
So that's a
Exactly.
really good part of the
Yep.
definition.
Yeah. So again, just gets more and more
And
confusing.
then don't sign that contract without the lawyer looking at it.
Yeah, of course, right? So there's so many things to know and to learn each week right here.
Even Skippy's
right?
confused.
I don't blame her. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning into another exciting week of Condo Craze and HOAs. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Rob. And of course, if you need legal help off the air, you can give Glazer Sachs a call, 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. If you're coming out to Palm Beach on Thursday, I certainly look forward to seeing you there. And if I don't, I'll see you and speak to you again next Sunday morning at 11 a.m. on Condo Craze and HOAs. Everybody have a wonderful, safe week, you and your family. Take care.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Eric.